Let's talk Joe Hart now. He's dropped by Manuel Pellegrini yesterday for Manchester City's 7-0 victory over Norwich at the City of Manchester Stadium. Sean, was that coming? Was it expected?
I think it was coming after the Chelsea game. We thought, actually, that Joe Hart had got himself a bit back on track when he was away with England. He did pretty well there. He'd spent 10 days pulling himself together, if you like, and performing pretty well. But then he's certainly coming out for balls on the edge of his area. He looks really doesn't look to be making the right decisions. Shot stopping, maybe not too bad, but coming out really, you worry every time he comes off his line. So I think it was expected. I think it was fair enough. And also Pantilimon getting a game like that, having kept a clean sheet in the week as well. You think, well, you can't switch it around again now, so he's got to play against CSKA, hasn't he? I mean, he just will and go on. And then Hart goes into the England internationals, having not played for City at all, probably in a fortnight. So, although we know he's going to experiment with keepers, certainly for the Chile game, do you throw Hart in for the Germany game, and with the risk that he might lose even more confidence? That one's a tough call. To me, I think Hutchinson should experiment with keepers in both these matches, actually, because he admits he hasn't done it enough. He did when we met up with him last time. He said, yeah, I should have given them more of a go, and I think now is the chance. His favourite deputy's not around, Ben Foster, at the moment. He's injured. He doesn't seem to be coming back anytime soon. So he's got to have a look at Ruddy and Foster, and he's got to give them a bit of a go. It was ironic, of course, that Ruddy had such a torrid time yesterday. Another keeper at the England keeper at the Etihad having a hard time yesterday and didn't look particularly convincing. Forster, I think, has earned the right. He's performed in the Champions League, which you'd call the highest level, against some top sides, Barcelona, and performed very well against Barcelona. He's earned that chance for me.
But I also think that Hodgson has to make a statement of his support and his faith.
Why?
In Joe
He
Hart.
made that statement at the last time. He said, I stand by Joe Hart, he's still my number one, and he put him in, and OK, he did fine. But why does he always have to say he is my first choice? When you've got the likes of Forster, who thinks, well, I've performed very well, why do I not deserve the chance? But if Roy Hodgson just keeps saying, Hart is still my number one, Hart is still my man, he's the only one I trust, what does that say for the backup keepers?
First game of the World Cup.
First game of the World Cup.
Who do you want in goal?
I don't know yet. I don't know what. Why have I got to decide now?
You'd be happy to go in with Fraser Forster.
I've no idea at the
he's had some brilliant games against Barcelona.
Why do you have to decide now? Why do you have to decide in November who your goalkeeper is?
Because you play Forster against Chile, I understand that, and then...
But if you're the backup keeper,
you need to show support in Joe Hart, because Joe Hart has been England's best goalkeeper over the last 4 or 5 years. We had this argument on the eve... Sean, we had this argument on the eve of the World Cup, and we all said, why is Capello not playing Joe Hart? He's had an absolute brilliant season for Birmingham. Play him, and then we had all this messing around with different goalkeepers. Robert Green is a good goalkeeper, David James is a good goalkeeper, but they are not in Joe Hart's calibre. But he doesn't have to do it now. He does not have to decide now who his goalkeeper is in the World Cup finals. It's not essential to decide that. And equally, he has to give a message to backup keepers that if they perform well, they will have a chance to play in that team. Why should they not have an incentive of being the first choice keeper? Explain that to me. I don't understand that. Look over the last 3 or 4 years. Okay, you are looking at mistakes made, and I agree, mistakes made by Joe Hart, a cluster of them in the last 3 or 4 months, and you can tack on some from last season, Switzerland, what have you. But if you actually sort of look at a goalkeeper who is now, age-wise, he's beginning to sort of move to his, supposedly the golden era for a goalkeeper, sort of 26, 27 to 31, 32, so he's there. Fantastic. If Forster comes in and he puts a little pressure on Joe Hart, fantastic. But then what are you going to do if Fraser Forster makes 1 or 2 mistakes for England?
I agree.
You have to look with goalkeepers over a longer period about their ability.
It's not guaranteed that if Forster comes in that he will prove that he should replace
Joe
Hart.
The other issue with goalkeepers is that you have to build up a relationship with their centre-halves. If you start rotating your goalkeeper and you've got sort of Jagielka, and I don't think England's actually got a particularly brilliant central defence, particularly compared to in previous years. I think you need to have that Jagielka, Cahill, Hart understanding built up. And that's one of the problems that Hart, and I understand he's had issues, and I agree with your point about his timing, his decision-making coming off the line, and it certainly needs sharpening. And Joe Hart, anyone who knows him, he'll be working with that. He'll be working with Dave Watson with England to develop that, because Joe Hart is an individual who wants to improve, and that's why I've got faith for him for the next sort of 4 or 5 years. But you need to build up that understanding, and the fact that an individual and an organiser and a leader like Vincent Kompany hasn't been in that Manchester City defence has also been an issue for Joe Hart. And I'll tell you what, are you totally convinced that Pantilimon is not going to make a mistake in the next few games?
No, not at all. Equally, okay. I wasn't with
And
Joe
then we can be
Hart
sitting
either,
here next time and think, oh, thank heavens Hart got back in.
And is this
so it's a general point. We discard individuals too quickly.
He's not been discarded too quickly.
Joe Hart deserves a little bit of patience.
No, but he's saying he's been discarded too quickly. He's not been discarded too quickly. He's had chance after chance after chance after chance, and it's taken quite a while before he was discarded. So don't just bat me away with it. Oh, you
no one can ever bat you away.
No, he's still England's best goalkeeper.
Andy, is this a short, sharp shock for Joe Hart? Is this only temporary?
No, I mean, the interesting thing about goalkeeping in general is how, if you're dropped from Manchester City, how do you force your way back in? How does he get back into a team that more than likely is going to be winning an awful lot of games? And if Pantilimon keeps an awful lot of clean sheets, then how do you get back in? You know, you still don't suddenly regain confidence. I think that's the issue for Joe, is actually getting back into the Manchester City team. I think with England, just my brief contribution to it, is that if Roy Hodgson already has made up his mind that his #1 goalkeeper, then he should play him for most of the time, and okay, give the occasional little, half an hour run out to half to the other keepers. But there's nothing wrong with Roy Hodgson saying, listen, you're my #1, you're not getting dropped, you're going to be my #1 goalkeeper.
You don't say that to anybody else on the pitch.
So, and I do think his England place is far more secure, far more guaranteed than Manchester.
What if he doesn't play for Man City? Well, go on, tell me. Just say that as you've just said, Man City win a lot of games and we get into, I don't know, just say you got into February.
Maybe he's the Capital One Cup goalkeeper.
Surely he can still play for England, even if he's not playing for Manchester City.
We've had this debate loads. What, a goalkeeper, particularly if he's not... So, you've decided he's playing in the World Cup finals. Let's say he just doesn't play for Man City at all till the end of the season. Fraser Foster's playing in the Champions League. Oh, he certainly would. Fraser Foster's playing in the Champions League till... whenever Celtic are beaten, you go with Joe Hart, even if he hasn't played for Man City at all.
I have such faith in Joe Hart that he will go away, work on these issues, and he'll be back with Stormers.
No, but
Manchester
say he's
City's
not.
#1.
Just say he isn't. Because, as Andy says, you've almost got... It now requires Pantilimon probably to make a mistake or two or three to come out of it.
But sorry, do you think Pantilimon is a good enough goalkeeper?
I haven't seen enough of him, Henry. I really haven't seen... I've seen bits of him. He's done OK. I don't know. You can't say you watched Pantilimon all lots. You haven't. I
saw him against your lot, and OK, he made one good save against Papi Cisse, but it was difficult to judge him on that. Obviously, you couldn't judge him yesterday. I've seen enough of Joe Hart over the last 3-4 years to know he's a good goalkeeper.
It'll need a Pantilimon mistake, probably, for Hart to get back in.